group you guys are a part of?
Keep an eye out for some more Marawindi out there today. There's a couple nests out there, so there's quite a few eagles hanging around this area. But as we cruise on out there today, we'll keep an eye out for the wildlife, looking out for plenty of bird life. Kakadu is home to 1/3 of Australia's bird species, making up over 280 bird species that can be found here. Some of these birds come from all over the world, maybe from other parts of Australia, from Asia, but some come from places as far as Saudi Arabia and travel thousands of kilometres to make their way back here. So it really is a bird watcher's paradise here, especially in the dry season when all the animals come and all the food sources are available. Right now a lot of the birds have flown elsewhere, but we'll still see quite a few around. As well as birds, of course, keep your eye out for crocodiles swimming around in the water. If there is any patches of dry land, that's a good spot to look for them, resting up on the bank, but mostly just have a look through the trees in the shallow waters. That's a good spot to try and find them. But I will just say this is a wetland cruise, it's not a crocodile cruise, so we can't guarantee seeing crocodiles out here. However, they do live here, so with everyone on the lookout, hopefully we'll spot some this afternoon. But as well as crocs, there's lots happening under the surface. There's there's about 54 species of freshwater fish. There's about 7 species of turtles. We've got aquatic snakes, freshwater whiprays, which is like a big stingray. And we even get things like bull sharks coming up into the waters, swimming up from the salt water. But we really get crocodiles and sharks in these waters here. Sorry? No, we do. We get, yeah, the young bull sharks come up into the water here. I could see one that's way at the top of this tall tree on the right hand side, sort of behind us now. I'll keep going. We might find some more in a clearer view, but just listen out for, the animals as well as looking for them. Bit of a funny goose, that one, sitting at the top of trees. There is a nest somewhere around there, so I've been seeing a lot of them back. Oh, there's 2 of them. Anyway, like I said, we'll keep an eye out for some more of those. I'll stop for them if they're easy to see. We're going to start to see a lot of this floating grass around. So the Hymenacne grass here, the roots mat together and form this floating carpet that's quite strong and thick. It's actually strong enough to support the weight of a fully grown crocodile. So the crocs around here, they can choose to crawl up on that grass, rest up there, or they could swim right underneath it. They can also nest up there, and they quite often do. Big mounds of eggs, about 50 eggs in a clutch. The mother hangs around defending the nest, protecting it. Once the babies hatch, they make this little yapping sound, and the mother will come, carry her babies to the water's edge in her mouth, and look after them for a couple of weeks. After that, she's over it. She chases them away, and if they don't leave, she might even eat them. So those little baby crocs have to fend for themselves, and everything wants to eat them, the birds, the fish, the other crocodiles. So only about 1 to 2% of crocs make it to adulthood. So if we do see crocs out here, you've got to have a lot of respect for them. They are the ones that have survived against the odds, and once they're big and grown, it's payback time, and they'll eat everyone else. Finally, they'll be top of the food chain. Off to the right there, they coil the neck back and spear fish under the water. And once they've gobbled that fish up, then they have to get up somewhere and spread the wings out and dry off. watch out on the right there. We're going to brush up against these trees. As we turn the corner, we're going to leave Yellowwater Billabong now and enter onto the South Alligator River. So this river runs right through Kakadu, right through the middle. It's like the main heartbeat of Kakadu, running all the way from the south to the north to the Van Diemen Gulf and the Arafura Sea. So if you came in from Darwin, you would have crossed this same river coming over a bridge over the Arnhem Highway. It's all completely freshwater environment here, but about 20 kilometres downstream it starts to become brackish and eventually does turn into saltwater. Yeah, we got a lot of dragonflies, especially as we come into dry season. We start to get more and more dragonflies. The dragonflies are our friends. They come in to eat the mosquitoes, so very helpful. These mangrove trees, they have little red flowers that bloom twice a year, once at the start of the dry season, once again at the start of the wet season. So they are what's known as a seasonal indicator or calendar plant. So here in Kakadu we talk about wet season and dry season all the time. It's a very, very simplified version of what's actually going on here. The Finning have the 6 seasons. They're looking at not only the weather, but they're looking at all the plants, all the animals, everything that is going on. A certain flower will tell them when to hunt a particular animal. So this flower, when it blooms the early wet season, it tells Finning to start hunting for file snake. The file snake lives in these waterways. It's got a rough texture on its skin. And so Finning, it'll usually be the women that go out hunting for file snake. And they bring the kids with them, so they're walking around knee deep, barefoot, feeling for the skin of the snake. You seen something on the left there? No, false alarm? No, that's alright. There's something floating on the right here. Not sure. Have a look what we got. I think it's just a bit of vegetation. And sometimes the crocs swim around with a lot of vegetation on their backs. Yeah. Alright, yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Like I said, especially through the gaps of the trees for anything that might be swimming around in there. But as I was saying, those file snakes, the women and the children walk around knee-deep, barefoot in shallow water channels, feeling for the skin of the file snake. And when they feel it, they pull it up out of the water and put the head in their mouth and they yank the body really quickly to kill the snake by snapping the spine. So that kills them quickly and efficiently. They take that home and cook it up for a feed. It is non-venomous, so they can cook that without getting envenomated. I wouldn't, however, go trying that at home. Leave that to the experts. They've been hunting file snake for thousands of years. They know what they're doing. about 2.5 meters, close to 3 meters. It's a pretty average size for a crocodile. Could be male, could be female. At this size, I can't tell. A female won't get much bigger than this. However, a male can get up to 5 or 6 meters. Now that's roughly half the length of this boat, is how big those bull crocs can get. They're big, heavy animals that would have takes a lot of effort to drag themselves up onto the bank there. So that croc is likely to stay there for the next couple of hours, just resting, regulating its temperature. They don't really use their legs to swim. The only use for their legs really is just to crawl up on the bank like it's just demonstrated. When they're swimming around, all the power or the momentum comes from their tail. The triangular scales on the tail are called scutes. The scutes are what allow the crocodile to swim and glide along the surface without making a sound or a ripple. Talking about the teeth, so I had to... What's a behaviour called gaping, really? It's the same as a dog panting. We might start making a move. Is everyone happy? Everyone had a good look, good photo? Yeah. Alright, let's do it. Well, we'll see what I can do. Yeah, thank you, crocodiles, for showing up today. And so sure enough, before Cyclone Tracy, before Cyclone Helen, you know, before both of those events, the bamboo was in flower. Hey, just a quick reminder, drink some water, folks. Plenty of icy cold water at the back here. Come and fill up if you need to. It's so easy to get dehydrated even when you're just sitting on a boat, so keep drinking that water. a bit of wind coming through. We might get a knock-em-down storm this afternoon. Because currently we're in the season of Bangarang, and Bangarang is the knock-em-down season, so we get these pretty strong windy storms. It gets that name because it knocks down the spear grass that grows out in the woodlands, knocks it over and spreads the seeds. And once we come into dry season, the storms will be over, and that's when they'll burn all that grass and clear it away. I don't know if it'll hit us. When I looked at the radar, that storm was travelling over the north, so it might just miss us, but we might get a good storm later tonight. Come on into dock in just a moment. Before we do, I'll finish by leaving you with a couple more of the good Jakehney words here. The first one is gummuck. Gummuck is used to say thank you, but it can also be used to say good or okay or yeah, anything that's sort of a positive thing. I'll use it to say thank you.